Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. This is Congressman Jeff Denham.
Well, Congressman Denham, thank you so much. We've been talking about you on this show for actually several months. We've been praising you and all the work you've done on H.R. 1734. Tell us a little bit about that bill.
Well, this is a common sense bill if you ever saw one. This is one that both Republicans and Democrats should agree on rather than arguing about raising taxes or making cuts to government. This is just a way to say we're going to do things smarter. Let's take all of these buildings that are sitting vacant, sitting empty around the nation, and let's either redevelop them so that we can create jobs, or let's sell them off so that we bring in the revenue to reduce our debt and create jobs in the process as well. So it's a good bill that will help us redefine the way that our government's run. I believe that our government is too big, and on the short term, I think that we can redevelop or sell a number of these properties, saving us about $15 billion immediately. But long term, if you really want to shrink the size of the government, you have to know how many employees we have across the nation, how many different employees each agency has, and how much square footage they're utilizing. So we're going to take this bill and this footprint and be able to say, so many square feet per person across the nation, so that we can really create some efficiencies and again sell off the ones we don't need, identify the ones that are underutilized, and if you've got two buildings that are both 50% occupied, why not combine them and then be able to either lease out the other building or sell it off? So this bill just gives us the framework to start making good decisions.
Well, you said a great word, common sense, and if you're a private business person, I mean, if you had a property that you weren't using, in some cases for years, and yet you're paying every year to maintain that property, that would just be stupid. And the government needs to really take advantage of this common sense thing that if you're not using these properties, sell them. And it's, again, common sense. Tell us about the post office, because you've got a victory on that one up in Washington, D.C., I heard.
Absolutely. The post office, the old post office in Washington, D.C. is a great success story. Here you've had a building that has sat vacant for well over a decade now. It has taken 2 acts of Congress to actually get Department of General Services to move on this. And now, after holding 2 different hearings in this old abandoned area of the old post office, we finally got them to put it out to bid. And when they put it out to bid, it was amazing. You've got this historic, one of the most historic buildings in our nation. I mean, if you go to look at the pictures of Washington, D.C., or if you visit our nation's capital, it's one of the tallest buildings. It's got the big clock on it. I mean, it's a historic building that we not only want to make sure we keep it historic, but that people can actually go up into that clock tower as they've been able to do for decades. And so once we put this out to bid, we had Waldorf Astoria, we had Hilton, we had Marriott, we had Donald Trump, a whole long list of people that immediately came and said, yes, we want to redevelop it. And recently, Donald Trump actually won the bid, and he's going to come in and redevelop this into a beautiful hotel with some retail shops that will actually not only keep the clock tower open, but create a great national monument, national visitor center that people will actually be able to enjoy it much better than they can today. So we have taken something that costs us $6.5 million. We pay out $6.5 million every single year just in an ongoing maintenance of this property. And now we're going to get $25 million plus each year in rental payments, and have a historic building that is redone. The federal government could not afford to go in and rehabilitate this building, but now that we've got a private developer coming in, we're going to be able to do that. So we're taking a net negative of $6.5 million, turning it into a net positive, bringing in $25 million, and on an annual basis, and we're creating 300 jobs in the process. I mean, if you ever had something that should be bipartisan and a way to streamline government and cut costs and get rid of waste, this is it.
Well, I'm waving the flag, because that is an unbelievable story, and the numbers of how much it costs to maintain a building, I don't think the average taxpayer realizes how much it costs. And so you've been doing a great job. And now you're from California. Did you do this type of thing in California to help the state of California?
Absolutely. In fact, California is a big mess with its real estate portfolio. I helped to change that while I was in the state Senate. But I'm one of those business guys that came into office and said, while one party's saying cut expenses and the other party's saying raise taxes, I said, wait a minute, you can't do either one of those in my business. What do we own? Do we have to sell off some of the things? Can we lease out some of the things? I mean, you start making some good business decisions. And so some of the big things that California owns are like the LA Coliseum and the sports arena and the Cow Palace, things that the state government should not own. They should be regional or private venues. Or San Quentin, which is the most expensive prison in the nation to run and is a $2 billion waterfront property that if you sold it off, not only would you be able to have the redevelopment in the Bay Area right on the waterfront property, but you could build 4 new prisons for what it would. It's state-of-the-art prisons. So California is a mess, too. We did some of the similar things that we're trying to do here with the federal government, bringing it all under the Department of General Services there, just like we're bringing it under GSA here, so that you have one person to hold accountable to. If, an agency's not selling off their property or not getting the right efficiencies, then we've got one person we can hold accountable now under my bill. That's the same thing we did in the state government. So California, the state, has a long way to go, but they're now on the right track. I know that other states are in the same situation with their state-owned properties, but from a federal perspective, I was amazed, and I think your listeners would be amazed too. We just initially, our initial search was 14,000 properties that were excess or underutilized properties. Mm-hmm. That's just by starting out. That doesn't include, there are huge 400,000 square foot courtrooms that are sitting vacant in a lot of the big cities right now. I mean, there are a lot of properties that we need to move that aren't on this list. So what this bill will do, we'll set up a separate commission to evaluate all of these different properties across the nation to be able to bring in lump sum of properties back to Congress to vote on an up or down vote on either selling them or redeveloping them, much like we had with the BRAC base realignment and closure that realigned all of our different bases based on a strategic purpose rather than from a congressional purpose of, everybody's going to fight for their own district, but is it really the right decision for our country?
Well, that's excellent news. You got it passed in the House. Now, what happens next? A lot of my listeners are, of course, real estate people, but it's the general public. What happens next, and when it goes to the Senate, how does that work? And do you guys both tweak it together, or what happens, Congressman Denham?
Well, a couple of different things could happen. What we'd like to see happen is the Senate just say, wow, that's a great bill, that's common sense, it makes sense, the President wants it, so we're going to pass this and send it to the President. The simple thing would be for him to take it and sign it into law.
Okay.
We're told that he wants this bill. We've been working with the administration to work out the tweaks that they'd like to see in it, but ultimately, this should not be a partisan bill. The other option would be to have the Senate send us a bill. So now that we've got our bill in the Senate, if they send us a bill that may be slightly different, then it goes to conference, and we all sit down between the two houses, and there would be a small conference committee that would work out the details of the bill, and then that would come out of conference and go directly to the President. We're happy with either one of those scenarios. We just want to make sure that this is done quickly so that we can start taking advantage not only of putting people back to work, but reducing our debt in the process.
Well, it's an excellent idea, and I hope it works. Why did you get into politics, Congressman?
I was frustrated with the direction that our country's going in. I mean, our debt is too big, and, this is the first time in my life where I've been worried that my kids would not have the same opportunities that my parents and grandparents I inherited from them. So I want to see our country change. I want to get rid of this debt. We shouldn't be carrying this debt or relying on other countries to, pay for, the things that we're spending money on.
Well, I agree. I actually listened to you on the House floor on C-SPAN, And I don't think everyone knows how difficult it is, and how patient you must be to get these bills passed. And everybody has their own interest, and how you do it is really amazing. I think a lot of this has to do with the fact you've got great staff. I've been to your office several times, worked with Brett Manley, and now just got to know Allie Brandenberger. But I guess it's just like any business. You need to have great people.
Absolutely. You got to have a strong team to help you move things forward. I mean, I couldn't do this without Allie communicating on a national perspective. And, Brett's the one who's been driving the policy. So you really have to have a strong team to make sure that it's getting all the way through the process. There's a lot of different roadblocks that get thrown up. It's how you get around those roadblocks that really matters.
What can we do as just regular citizens? Because if everybody knew about this, that the government, and therefore us paying for it, the taxpayers, we're wasting billions of dollars. How do we do something to make your work easier?
Well, two things that we're asking listeners to do. First, and most importantly, call your U.S. Senator. We're trying to make sure that every state is calling their U.S. Senator so their senator is aware of the issue, and we actually get it up for a vote here very quickly. The other thing would be to voice your support at our office, and our website is denham.house.gov. That's denham.house.gov, and that'll help us to continue to get this moving as well.
Well, that's a great idea. You also have a weekly update that I find very interesting, and I look forward to it every Friday when I get it. You email it out. It's free. How do people get on that list too, Congressman Denham?
The same way. If they go to denham.house.gov, they can sign up for our e-newsletter. Also follow us on Facebook or Twitter. I'm a freshman, but in the short time that I've been here in Congress, we're fighting, and we're getting some good things done. So let us know what you think of our ideas, but most importantly, let us know what you're thinking. And again, if you go to denham.house.gov, you can get our e-newsletter, or you can show us that you support the legislation, or even if you have concerns with anything we're doing, we want to hear that as well.
Congressman Denham, I know you guys are very busy. Congressman Long was on earlier in the show, showed his support. I think he was a co-sponsor of the bill. It's exciting work that you're doing. It's very vital for the country that this type of bill gets passed, no matter how it gets done. And I'm glad to see that you're going to be working with everybody to get it done. I'm also glad that the president is for this type of thing, because it's, again, extremely important for the taxpayers of the country.
Absolutely. And let me, before I go, let me give a great shout-out to the great Representative Billy Long. He's a great American and a good friend.
Well, thank you very much. Congressman, again, thank you for calling in and for a great job. Continue doing what you're doing, and I look forward to the success of your programs.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on today.
You bet. Bye-bye now.